What is going on? Dylan Conrad, Metabolic Momma Secrets. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see this gangster ass mic, and you probably are hearing it if you're listening to this on Spotify, iTunes. Cool. So today I'm going to talk to you about mindful eating or intuitive eating. Which one should you be doing? Before I get to that, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, turn notifications on. All helps the algorithm. Damn, I need like a stand for this thing so I can I don't have to freaking lean over every second. There we go. Look at that. If you're listening to this on Spotify, iTunes, like, subscribe, all that stuff really helps the algorithm. The goal is to help more people like you, more moms. So that'd be helpful. Okay, cool. So mindful eating versus intuitive eating. If you're not really sure which one is what and what those even are, intuitive eating is basically the process of eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. And mindful eating is more of like a meditative approach to food where you're like really intensely focused on the taste, the texture, how full your stomach's getting, all that stuff. Okay. There's been a big push in both of those, specifically intuitive eating as of late, people promoting it as like the weight loss holy grail. You don't have to log your food. And it is something we actually get all of our clients into eventually. And I'll tell you kind of why we do it last. But it's not going to be the tool that's going to have you drop weight. It's more of like a maintenance thing. And so the reason why is your body loves homeostasis. Like this thing called homeostasis where your body fat and your health just wants to stay where it's at, right? And so unless we make changes, you are going to stay at that same homeostasis. So your body is going to trigger hunger hormones and fullness cues to keep you at homeostasis. So we basically keep you at the same exact place. So that's why I don't love intuitive eating for seeing progress. I like to do that once we have gotten to your goal body fat, we've revved your metabolism up, gotten your health where you want it to do, and then we can actually get you into intuitive eating. And we have a process we take all of our clients through for that. Mindful eating is cool. And, I think the problem with mindful eating is that it's like a anti-diet crusader, which I'll kind of like. I want to go on a rant about the anti-diet crusade that seems to be like with the body positivity. And look, I'm all about loving your body, but I do believe that everyone should be healthy and live long lives. And I don't think it is okay to normalize obese or morbidly obese figures. And look, we live in a society today that is like, everything's huge. We have like fast food that is not good for you. We have huge portion size in America. If you go like France or anywhere else, like it is tiny portion size. Like they have that dialed in the right way. But we are living in a place in America where unfortunately we have very calorie dense foods and we have very inflammatory foods, and that is going to cause a lot of weight gain and health problems. And so do we need to go on diets? Yeah, probably, because we shouldn't be eating the way that America has set us up to eat. Right? And so like, yes, we have to change our way of eating. Otherwise we would just be like on my 500-pound life and not healthy at all and like dying really young. So that's my little rant on, on that whole thing. Okay. So back to mindful eating, and I like mindful eating as a fat loss approach. And I think the problem is what I was getting into is I think the problem is that a lot of people think like, oh, if I do mindful eating, it's also associated with anti-diet, so I shouldn't be like logging my food or eating a different way, anything like that. And it can't be both. And I don't agree with that. I think you can do mindful eating paired up with macros or paired up with, calorie counting or whatever you're doing, hand portions to have you stick and adhere to that diet. It's gonna be a lot easier. And so if it takes your stomach 15 minutes to send the signal to your brain that you're full. Mindful eating, a big practice of that is like you end up eating really, really slow because you're really like focusing on the taste and the texture. And every day, even mindful eating, they say like you should take about 20 minutes to eat your meal. And so when you're slowing it down that regard, you're not going to have a tendency to overeat on your portions. And you're probably going to have a tendency to like, even if you weren't doing macros or anything like that, you'd probably eat less, which would put you in a calorie deficit, right? I am not a huge fan of like guessing your way to fat loss, especially if you need to rev up your metabolism, because you can inadvertently crash it with mindful eating because you're eating so little, because you realize like how little food you actually need. But it can lower your metabolism, which is no bueno for a lot of different factors. So mindful eating, it is a great approach to marry with macro counting or calorie counting or hand portions, or some strategic way that you're measuring your progress and like how much is actually going to your body. And it'll help you adhere to that nutrition protocol a lot easier, because you're not going to have the tendency to overeat. So mindful eating, I give a breakdown of kind of what it is. I'll do that in like a separate podcast, because it's like there's a lot of different factors that you focus on. If you've done any meditation and practice any mindfulness, the biggest thing that you focus on is like being super, super focused on what's going on in your body. And with that externally, with like, obviously you're having food, bringing it internally, you're focusing on the taste, the texture, eating it slow, like how it feels when you chew it, how it goes to your stomach, like sliding down your throat. You're focused on every aspect of that food. I'll give like a full breakdown, but from that aspect of slowing down your food and all that stuff, and not having a tendency to overeat, I think mindful eating is a great fat loss technique. I do recommend that you pair that up with something that is measurable and quantifiable, so you're not just like guessing your way to fat loss and then you just bomb your metabolism inadvertently. So that's my recommendation. Intuitive eating, do that last. Like once you finish getting to your goal body fat, you reverse diet properly, then go into intuitive eating, because that will be a great maintenance tool. But on your pathway along there, and it's also a great de-stressing technique, to be honest with you, mindful eating, because a lot of times we're like eating our food so fast, and like just raising cortisol through the roof and just like feeling even more frazzled and like kind of searching afterwards for like other sugar. You'll notice if you do intuitive eating, you're not really going to crave certain foods after you eat a meal, and you're like, a lot of times we eat a meal and we're still quote unquote hungry, but it's psychological, because we wouldn't eat a vegetable, but we would eat like anything sugary that would like satisfy our quote unquote craving. A lot of times in mindful eating, you're not going to have that response. So hope this is super helpful. Mindful eating, just to kind of recap, mindful eating again should be married into your fat loss protocol, and then intuitive eating can be married into your maintenance protocol. So if you haven't liked, subscribed, please do that now. And hope this was helpful. And I'm going to make a longer YouTube video and podcast about mindful eating and really like how to practice that. And I think there's like 5 to 10 tenets that you really want to focus on. But until then, love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day.